Bitcoin is about to go parabolic according to these 3 new charts we haven't yet discussed on the channel. There's 3 new airdrop opportunities which I want to talk about in today's video. And the FBI may be coming for your crypto. How would you protect yourself? As always, it's an update on Bitcoin and Solana. Let's start off with the news before we talk about the charts. Starting off with the news for Solana. New Visa dashboard shows that the total stablecoin transaction size on Solana is the highest among all other blockchains. If you're wondering why Visa is reporting this, it's because Visa is integrated with Solana. Now there's a new Solana-based scam token called Bonk Killer, and this has just broken 100 trillion market cap. Now, it hasn't actually got 100 trillion worth of liquidity. It's at this level right now because the dev has 90% of the supply and he's disabled selling. So you can only buy this token. Do not buy this token. I'm just putting this on your radar so you can make sure to stay as far away from tokens which have freezable authority. In other news, Bybit has just listed Solana meme coin with as of this morning, and what happened? Well, we had a wick all the way up to $42. Quickly looking at the health of the Solana network, it's looking a lot better since the new upgrades have rolled out, which we talked about in our recent videos. I haven't had any problems with transactions, TPS is good, ping time is allowing literally every single transaction to go through, so everything's looking new and improved. Let's now do a quick segment on some airdrop opportunities coming your way for Solana. One of them is going to be brand new. Starting off with Solana meme coin Maneki. They performed an airdrop for 9% of their total supply to every Solana mobile and every Solana Chapter 2 pre-order NFT holder. At the peak, this was worth about $120. I think the price has come down a little bit since then, but you had the opportunity to sell above $100. As always, I'm going to keep on covering every single airdrop that the Solana Chapter 2 mobile has. If you haven't pre-ordered one already, you're just going to see this every single video. We're going to talk about a new airdrop and you're going to feel like you're missing out. So rather sooner than later, I've been begging you to get this since it originally came out. Since I told you guys, get the Solana Chapter 2, we had $212 of Mu, we had $155 worth of IQ50, $40 worth of Step, $23 worth of WAF, and this was my screenshot when I received my Maneki for $111. So those of you who listened to me in only maybe my last 2 videos 9 days ago or 11 days ago, you've already got a phone which is paid for 1/5 of itself in a single airdrop. If you haven't already pre-ordered the Solana Chapter 2 mobile, I honestly don't know what's wrong with you. If you've missed out and you've been living under a rock and you want to get one now, then be sure to use my referral code in the description down below. Now let's talk about a new airdrop opportunity which I haven't talked to you guys about before because this is still very, very new. This is a new project on Solana, but it has an app on the App Store. This is called Saku Monsters and they are in their beta stage. This project is very akin and looks exactly like Pokemon, and this is kind of like a Solana spin-off of Pokemon. Now it appears that this project is going to be multi-chain, but at this moment in time it's only on Solana. So how this works is you would come over to their official Twitter at Saku Monsters, which is verified, then you'll head over to their app store down here. If you're on iPhone, just click on it and you'll be able to download their app from the app store. Once you've downloaded it, you'll basically get this free green egg. This is the first one that you'll get. You have to move fast for this one because they've got a limited supply. Basically, you get this green egg, you incubate it, and then you play this game and eventually it hatches. I played the game for about 3 days. The game opportunity only pops up twice a day every 12 hours. It takes like 30 seconds to complete. So basically play this game twice a day for 1 minute in total, and in 3 days you should have this Sluggo NFT hatch inside your wallet. Now this NFT is currently non-transferable until the end of the season occurs. Once the end of the season occurs, you can transfer it out to your main Phantom wallet, at which point you can list it on Magic Eden. Now at this moment in time, the floor price of these is over 1.1 Solana, so it seems completely lucrative to just go play this game for 3 days. That's approximately maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, including the time it takes to download this game, and then you'll have a hatched egg. If you just want to cheat it at that point and sell it for 1 Solana, you can. If you want to continue playing, it's up to you. Either way, I'm just putting this on your radar. Whenever I see airdrop opportunities or opportunities to make free money in the Solana ecosystem, I'm always going to prioritize them and put them in front of your face. It's also good to note there is a lot of volume coming into this right now. I witnessed this a couple of days ago. The floor price has been increasing, the 24-hour attempts, the owners have been increasing, volume has been increasing, and also they've got a very nice following over on Twitter. And one thing I like about this is they've actually got a product. There's so many NFTs, there's so many tokens on Solana which are like, hey, we're in beta, we don't have anything to show for it, we've just got these NFTs, we don't have anything to work with, eventually we'll build it. No, these guys have already got a product, they've already got an app, and you can already start playing around with the ecosystem and get your first NFT for free for a limited time. Anyway, if you do decide to download this app and start playing, when you are creating an account, make sure to use my referral code right here, WK0NF7. This will give you a bonus chest when you're starting the game. And the final airdrop opportunity is going to be Get Grass. Basically, if you're on your computer, you just run this in the background. It uses your spare broadband to collect points, which is used for building AI models. So your spare broadband is valuable. They're just using some of that value and giving you back points. So far in the past 6-7 weeks, which I've been using this, I've collected over 375,000 points, which is currently worth about $450 just for running this in the background. Now, if I wanted to, I could confirm that price and lock it in right now with Whales Market, but I'm gonna wait until closer to when the token releases. I've been asked this question about 1 million times on how do people find out how much their grass points are worth, so I'm just gonna answer this in this video. Head over to Whales Market, click on the points market, come and scroll over until you find grass. And then what you want to do is come back over to grass and look at your points in the rewards section. Look at how much points you've got. So in this epoch, I've got 315,000. This one I've got 63. This one I've got about 2. So in total, I've got about 375,000. Come back over to Whales Market and look at the lowest offering. You don't want to look at these higher offerings because these are less likely to get filled. Look for the lowest offering, which has actually got some of the supply filled, which means this person is offering 1 million points and 42% of that has already been pre-purchased. So you know that's the current spot market rate for the points. Then you want to click on it and you want to click on buy and you just want to type in the amount that you've got. So we saw that I had 375,000 and that's going for about $450 right now. If I then wanted to sell that 375,000, I'd simply come down and create an offer for the points market. Then you just need to collect your Phantom wallet, put down the collateral. So they're obviously not just gonna give you free money before you get the tokens. That would be stupid. They go out of business straight away. So you have to put up collateral for this. And then when the tokens come out, you give them the tokens, they give you the collateral, and then they give you whatever someone has pre-purchased those tokens for. As always, lots of opportunities to be making money in the Solana ecosystem. Anyway, let's now move on to the Bitcoin and rest of the cryptocurrency market news. So the FBI have recently warned against unsolicited cryptocurrency exchanges, and it hints that if users like me and you use these non-compliant exchanges, we could have our funds confiscated. Now, in the eyes of the SEC, in the eyes of the FBI, and the eyes of the US, what is a non-compliant exchange? Well, we've heard this time and time again from the SEC. They believe, in their opinion, that anything that is stakeable, anything that is proof of stake, anything that had an ICO, these all fall underneath unregistered securities offerings. If your favorite exchange is offering these unregistered securities, then it is a non-compliant exchange, and if you're using that, boom, they could just take your funds. So think for a second, how many of your favorite projects have done an ICO? Well, maybe Binance, maybe Ethereum, maybe Solana. How many of them are stakeable? Well, most of them. And how many of your favorite cryptocurrency exchanges offer proof of stake tokens, things like Ethereum and Solana? Because yes, in the eyes of the SEC, these are securities. And then you come to the conclusion that basically every single exchange which is not a Bitcoin only exchange is offering non-compliant services. So what's the solution to this? Get a hardware wallet. Do not keep any money in exchanges. Moving on from there, the SEC delays their decision on spot Ethereum ETFs, and they push the deadline all the way back to June the 23rd, which is well over 6 weeks away. The reason why this is important is because if an Ethereum ETF does take off, Ethereum could do very, very well, altcoins could do very, very well, and Solana as well could benefit from this and potentially be the next ETF looking to get accepted. Let's now talk about the Bitcoin ETF flows. Of course, today is Monday, so we don't have anything to update as nothing's been reported, but let's talk about what happened last week. Now remember, over on Twitter at 618_cowboy, I'll always at least do a weekly summary of what's happening in the ETFs. I'll do a daily summary if there's anything important happening. The reason I haven't posted too much about this in the past week is because Literally nothing has happened. The cumulative flows for the past week have been mainly neutral / negative. GBTC every single day dumping an amount, but it's been a small amount, 80 million, 140 million, 130 million. Nothing that will particularly move the market by a gigantic amount. The other ETFs bought close to zero, so in total cumulative flows were basically in the negative, but they were extremely flat, so really nothing to update. And I do really think that we do need to see another catalyst in order to see cumulative flows rocket back up to the upside. Now, one potential slightly bullish catalyst is the fact that Hong Kong has a spot ETF debuting tomorrow. Now, I mentioned this in my last video, and I'll mention this in this video because there's a lot of misinformation, especially for people who don't understand the Asian markets. I'm seeing a lot of posts like this, breaking Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF launches tomorrow, and then they start talking about, oh, the Asian market is bigger than the US and European markets combined. Yes, that may be true, and that's mainly in correlation to China. However, Hong Kong is not China. This ETF in Hong Kong is only for people who are in Hong Kong. People in mainland China cannot purchase this ETF. So the Hong Kong ETF market is going to be minuscule compared to the China market, and it's going to be minuscule compared to the European and US ETF markets. So I really don't think Hong Kong's ETF is going to do much. In fact, I think it's mostly going to be priced in. Maybe we see some inflows on the first day, but I don't think anything dramatic. Now, according to Bloomberg, some Australian securities exchange could approve a spot Bitcoin ETF before the end of 2024, which could be another small but bullish catalyst. Now, there's some interesting stuff happening in the charts, so let's dive right into the charts for Bitcoin and Solana. Now, let's start off with a quick overview before we discuss these new charts for Bitcoin. At this moment in time, the funding rate is basically completely neutral. However, when I was looking at this data this morning, the Bitcoin funding rates actually went negative, and this is one of the catalysts I've been waiting for to really pivot back into a bullish position. We discussed it in a previous video, but basically when the funding rates go negative, bears are paying a premium to enter a short position, and you're much more incentivized to enter a long position, especially after you've had a massive cascade to the downside. Also, if we're looking at the Bitcoin liquidation map, you can see liquidity is much more prominent to the upside at this moment in time. There is much more short leverage in the market right now, and this is why the funding rates dipped into negative this morning. This is typically always a very, very bullish side. When you see one side of the liquidation map extremely accentuated over the other one, it's typically a sign that one side or the other has got too euphoric. And at this moment in time, the euphoric side is the bears in the short positions. Now, as a worst case scenario, if we are looking at the long liquidation map, you can see that the majority of this steep incline in the liquidation map would happen round about 60,000 to 61,000, at which point a lot of the longs would have been fully liquidated out of the market, and at which point shorts would be absolutely towering over longs. And in this case, especially with negative funding rates, that typically signals a bottom, and it signals peak bear euphoria. And this is going to kind of drive in with these charts that I want to look at in today's video. If we start off on the daily time frame with this new chart, looking at the RSI and looking at the Bitcoin price action, you can see at this moment in time, the RSI, MFI, stochastic RSI, whatever you're looking at, has all been in a downtrend while the price has been coming to the downside. However, we are in a bull market, and you can see these instances time after time again. When we do see these downtrends in the RSI, as soon as you have that event where you flip back bullish and break above the downtrending line on the RSI, that's typically when you see a resurgence in price every single time. The most recent time we saw this breakout after a downtrend, Bitcoin went from 49,000 down to 38,000. That was a $10,000 dip. The RSI reset, we broke back above the bearish trend line, and then as you can see, we went all the way up to 74,000. We've then had a correction from 74 down to $60,000, and right now the RSI is very, very close to a bottom formation in my opinion. Now, as we'll discuss in a second, this doesn't mean that you should enter a 10, 20x leverage long at this moment in time. I'll discuss my price target with you in just a second, but this does insinuate that we are very close to a situation where we're probably going to start breaking bullish very, very soon, and Bitcoin's going to make that next new all-time high. Now, on the monthly time frame for the RSI, you can see that we are just hovering around this 70 mark. We almost flipped extremely bullish, and this is typically where the bulk of the gains are made in the cycle. When the RSI goes on its final parabolic run above the 70 mark, you can see this is where right here the bulk of the gains are made in the cycle. Right here, you can see above this line, this is where the bulk of the parabola is made. Over here, you can see above the 70 line, bulk of the parabola is made in literally all of these situations here. This is what we're very, very close to right now. And yes, we are having a consolidation at this moment in time, but I don't think this is anything to fear about. You can see in previous instances where we've come near to this 70 mark, like here, and dip beneath it, this was just a tiny bit of red before that next major parabola back up to the upside. So just something to note in the macro, we are looking very nice. Now, moving on to the weekly time frame, I wanted to look at this and just point out that we are still consolidating around the previous all-time high. Back in the consolidation phase in 2017, it took approximately 10 weeks worth of consolidation around Bitcoin's previous all-time high before we made that bulk of the parabola. Back in 2020, it took about 6 weeks of consolidation around the previous all-time high until we made the bulk of the gains in the parabola. Right now, trending around Bitcoin's all-time high at 63,000, Bitcoin has been trading sideways for approximately 9 to 10 weeks, which would insinuate with the rest of the data that we've looked at in today's video that we are coming very, very close to that inflection point where we're probably going to start moving up further. Now, the catalyst for this, in my opinion, is one last dip to the downside. However, it doesn't have to happen. There's a lot of short leverage in this market right now, which really does insinuate that any day now we could start breaking up. However, I would personally really like to see the funding rates just dip negative one last time. As you can see, this is the bull flag we detailed in some of our previous videos. I gave you two scenarios. I said either we could just break above it ASAP, or we could do something like a SFP swing failure pattern where we come back down, either hold the bottom of the bull flag as support, or swing failure beneath it and then rock it back up to the upside. Either way, this is just a rough drawing. We are still in the bull flag, and this bull flag is looking like it's going to go up to 100k. I would also like to highlight that my most bearish scenario could still be in play. I did detail this is my worst case scenario, and it looks like it's coming a little bit more and more prominent. This was the fact that Bitcoin could retest the 786 Fibonacci at 57,800, basically 58,000. In my opinion, anywhere near 60,000, which is basically where we are now, I'm just adding to my bags with size. I'm doing this at the moment in Solana with just spot Solana and my favorite meme coins, etc. I've been in Bitcoin since 2016, 2017, so I feel like I've already got, good enough bags in this, so I'm just looking at other markets. But if you wanted to look for opportunities to buy Bitcoin or leverage, anywhere between 60,000 and 67,500, in my opinion, is going to be a really good buy, because as soon as we start turning tail, if we have that SFP, if we hold support, any time roundabout now, this is going to be the inflection point where Bitcoin just decides to go absolutely parabolic. In my opinion, this is my thoughts. Moving on to Solana, I feel like Solana's at that very similar inflection point that Bitcoin is at. If we're looking at the daily time frame, you can also see a similar copy of the chart that we looked at over on Bitcoin. Solana is currently in a correction right now. It is in the higher time frames, as you can see, still making higher lows, and it is really holding this bottom very solidly right now. However, in the micro, you can see we are currently forming these lower highs, and the RSI is coming down. Now, the RSI has almost completely reset. This is the lowest the RSI has been since Solana was all the way down at $17. Now, if you're buying these RSI levels when you're just at these dirt cheap levels, this is often when you yield the most amount of gains. This is often when people are absolutely terrified and think everything's going to go to zero. And normally, when you come down to these levels and everyone says, it's over, we've come down so much, we're going to go down much further, this is typically the best time to buy. So same fractal, same sort of thing. You can see every inflection point where you break above this RSI downtrend, Solana's gone on a absolutely parabolic move to the upside. And I think we're very close to that right now. Heading over to our second chart with a drawing, basic arrow drawing that we did in our last video, you can see this is where we were saying we think we're going to hold the floor. And if we come over to the weekly time frame, you'll see why. This is from the high to the low, the 0.5 Fibonacci at $134, and Solana is absolutely refusing to drop beneath this level. There is also another very key level, which is this previous touch point here, this previous high, $144, down to this high of $126. Solana is currently above and retesting this box at this moment in time. I think this is going to be the inflection point. I don't see Solana back beneath $126. I think the bottom is already in for Solana on the weekly time frame. The stochastic RSI is literally at the perfect prime buying point. So in my opinion, once again, just giving you a price target for Solana, I think we have already found the bottom, but I have my eyes firmly placed on both $134 and also $127. I think both of these levels are extremely important to stay above, and I think the inflection point for both Bitcoin and Solana is coming very, very soon. In terms of Ethereum's previous bull run overlaid on this current cycle for Solana, you can see we are once again right on track with that correction that Ethereum had around the halving of the previous cycle, and this is typically where the next bulk of the gains are made very, very soon. Now, right now, I am using this dip to primarily buy Solana and my top favorite Solana ecosystem picks. If you want to know my top 16 Solana picks, be sure to check out this video I posted 11 days ago. Primarily the two that I've bought in this most recent dip are Chonky and VCAP. Anyway, for today, that's all I've got. Remember the actionables, that is, make sure you've already pre-ordered a Solana Chapter 2 mobile so you can take advantage of the airdrops. If you don't have the money for that, then start mining Grass. This is completely free. You can earn points, get the tokens, exchange it for dollars. And the third actionable is Saku Monsters. Make sure to download this. For a very limited time, you can get this Sluggo green NFT. So make sure, once again, another free actionable, that you go and do this. And then when the end of the season comes, you can exchange this for the current floor price of 1.1 Solana. If you enjoyed, smash like on the way out. See you in the next one. Peace.